What's happening? Luke here with the Viking boys, and today we're gonna switch things up a little bit. Today we're gonna talk about the 6 most frequently asked questions that I get about cold calling. Stay tuned. Alright, so yeah, I wanted to hop on here today and just do a video about this but a lot of people have been reaching out about certain questions that I figured I would just hop on in and just go for it. One of the top questions that I get, do you leave voicemails on your calls when you're calling? No, I do not. The reason being is because it takes a long time. You're going to get a lot of calls back of people that are just going to tell you no. So personally, I only leave voicemails on my leads. I leave voicemails on my leads pretty often, but again, like I said, when I am dialing, I do not leave voicemails on those. Number 2, do you put people on the do not call list? No. Don't tell anyone. I don't. And again, the reason why is because it takes a lot of work to just take that person's contact, go filter it out, put it into the do not call list, and then the odds are is that when you pull a new list, if that person overlaps, it's just going to be on there again. So personally, no, I do not take people and put them on the do not call list. How to respond to, how did you get my phone number? This is a good one. So this is a question. I mean, if you've been cold calling for a while, you know this is a question that you get all the time. How did you get my phone number? I'm on the do not call list, whatever, right? So what I say is, personally, we have been calling this area. We handpicked out about 5 properties that we're super interested in, whatever. And then basically we use a third-party company. It's called LexisNexis. And what we do with that is we can input the addresses of the properties that we're interested in, and it will kick back the phone numbers that at some point were associated with the addresses there. So basically, we're just kind of getting lucky, hoping we get a hold of the right person. So it's very like non-confrontational. It's not just you. Don't worry. I'm not just coming after you, something like that. So again, that's kind of the best way that I put it, where it's very just easy. It takes a little while it took a little while to kind of get that down perfectly when you're on the phone and you can just rattle it off. Yeah, no, sorry, we use a third-party company. It's called LexisNexis. Basically, if we're ever interested in certain properties, we can input the addresses and it will kick back the phone numbers that at some point were associated with the addresses there. It's that simple, and then everyone just says, oh, okay. And then I always follow it up with, but don't worry, I'll take your number out of our system for you. And then every single time, again, it's just de-escalating the situation and just making it very nice and easy for them. How many hours should I be calling per day? That's a big one. So if you are working part-time, then, I would still like to say, 3. But again, it really just kind of comes down to how much time you've got. If you've got, if you're working, say, 20, 30 hours, a week at another job, that should be enough time for you to call an extra 15 hours a week, on the dialer. So, I mean, I would say, honestly, like if you're trying to really make this work, you got to call minimum 3 hours a day. You just have to. And then if you are literally full-time in this, if you are 100% on board cold calling, your wholesaling is your life, and if cold calling is your only source of how you're bringing leads in, dude, you need to be calling like 6 hours a day. I'm just telling you. I know it doesn't sound fun, but you got to be calling 6 hours a day. You got to call at least 30 hours of just dial time. That's not including, your follow-up time and stuff like that, because that's going to take up some time too. I mean, you might be looking at 30 minutes to an hour just of follow-up time when you start getting rolling out. Again, like, you really need to make sure you're calling 6 hours a day if you're full-time. That's why I found Madden, was because when I was calling 6 hours a day, I was like kind of going crazy, right? Like, you lose your mind. But again, once I started playing Madden, it was pretty easy. It's just, I literally hop online and you're just playing all day. So yeah, so that's my answer to that question. It also depends on how many deals you want to do. How successful do you want to be? You got to work harder. How long should I follow up with a lead before I trash it? So that one is also, it's going to be different every single circumstance. What I do though is that I follow up with a lead until it gets to the point where either they stop answering, or if they just tell me they're just full on not ready. So I like to try to have that conversation with them, maybe every 3 months, every 2 to 3 months, just to make sure that they're still planning on selling or that they're still serious about it. But I follow up with leads for 4 to 5 years, which obviously they probably weren't quite ready when they first talked to them. But again, I've just built a really good rapport with them and a really good relationship with them to where there's no point for me to throw it away because I'm the person that they're going to call when they are ready, when that time does come for them. But I mean, again, if you're following up with something where, my word of thumb is if I haven't spoken with them in 6 months, that's when I will then transfer that lead to a different agent on our team, right? So if I've gone 6 months and maybe they just stopped answering my phone calls because I was calling once a month and they just don't want to talk to me. That's when I'll transfer it over to someone else and be like, hey, you try reaching them from a different number, see if they answer you. And a lot of times they will. And they just, they recognize my number and they didn't want to talk about selling their house. And so then you can kind of come at it from a different angle, which is nice. But that's my word of thumb. 6 months without talking to them is when I will either pass it on or I will just trash it. So again, I pass them on before I trash them personally, but I've got other agents on our team that will take them from that point. So if you're just a one-man show, if you're following up for 6 months, you could sell it to someone else. I know there's people that are out there that will buy dead leads and stuff like that. And then also, again, yeah, so you don't want to just like, if you just haven't spoken with them in like say 2 or 3 months, definitely don't toss it. Like if you can still get a hold of them in 2 months, or you can also even try switching it up, send them, drop a voicemail, which is what I do. I drop a voicemail about once every 2 months. And then you can also text them, right? Send them a quick text. Hey, are you no longer interested in selling your property? Are you not, or do you not want my offer anymore? Just curious, so I don't have to quit, so I can quit bugging you, right? Something like that. And then usually they'll give you a response of like, hey, yeah, no, sorry, I'm just not quite ready yet. Or yeah, try me again in 6 months or stuff like that. So, and again, if they do that, I'll usually hold on to it if they respond. Moving on. This is the last one, number 6. We made it. How long typically does it take to turn a lead into a deal? Again, that's going to be different for every single circumstance as well. I would say on average, if I just had to completely average everything out, it's probably about 3 months. I would say it's about 3 months of, following up. And so, I mean, you make that initial call, and then if they're only, say 3 months out down the road, then you're going to give them a call back in a couple weeks or even a week, right? Just whatever you spoke with them on the phone about. Hey, they'll say, hey, reach back out to me in a month. Cut that time in half, call them in 2 weeks. If they say 3 months, call them back in a month and a half. But again, usually from the initial point of contact to turning it into a deal, it's going to be about 3 months. And I would say the reason for that being is that most of your leads, they're maybe not quite ready right off the bat, and they are just a few months away. Doesn't mean that you're not going to have some, quick one-hitter calls and they're like, yeah, come take a look at it, and you close the deal on the spot, because you are going to get those ones, but then you're also going to have the ones that are a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year follow-ups. And so I would say on average though, it's probably not quite as far as like 6 to 9 months, nothing like that. The average is definitely going to be right in that ballpark sweet spot of about 3 months, because again, it's just going to be a combo between your quick closes and your super far out ones, which it's going to land you right in that 3 months for you there. So anyway, those are the top 6 questions that I get the most about cold calling. So if you've got any other questions, if you have any other comments, drop them below and I will get to them. But hey, it's been fun. I really enjoyed spending this time with you. I really feel like we're getting to know each other. It's kind of turning into a relationship now, so I miss you. Bye.